Pesci, and this is Barnes & Noble Tagged. It may be Children's Book Day every day at your house, but it is officially Children's Book Week all across the nation, and we've tagged our favorites for every age and stage. Plus, we take a look at blooks. These are books inspired by blogs, and we are absolutely thrilled to have best-selling author Chris Bohjalian with us here in the Tag studio to talk about his new novel. Perhaps you first heard of Chris Bohjalian when his dark novel Midwives became an Oprah Book Club pick. But today, his books carry a buzz all their own. He has earned a reputation for writing novels that examine some of the most important issues of our times. The Double Bind, a story that explores mental illness and the homeless, was a Barnes & Noble Recommends selection. He is here today to tell us about his most recent book, Skeletons at the Feast. Chris Bohjalian, you've been tagged. I have to tell you, Skeletons at the Feast, I read it in one day. It's one of my favorite books, but I want you to tell everybody what it's about.
Skeletons at the Feast is a love story, a love triangle set in the last 6 months of World War II in Poland and Germany. The triangle includes an 18-year-old Prussian girl who grew up on this entitled baronial estate, and when the novel opens, she's largely oblivious to the Nazi atrocities. Her lover, a 20-year-old Scottish prisoner of war who's forced labor on her family's estate, and a 26-year-old German corporal who's actually a young Jewish man who jumped off a train on the way to a death camp and now in the final months of the war is masquerading as a German soldier to stay alive.
Tell me, what was the inspiration?
The inspiration was a diary. A good friend of mine and I, when we were picking up our daughters in kindergarten in 1998, said, "Would you look at my German grandmother's diary?" And normally when somebody says to a novelist, "Would you look at the family diary?" as a novelist, you think, oh, just start the waterboard torture.
Yeah, exactly. But, run screaming away.
Yeah, but this is a good friend of mine, and I read the diary, and there were about 30 pages set at the end of World War II that were riveting, harrowing, when this diarist decided she needed to take her daughters and get out of the way of the Soviet army and walk all the way to the British and American lines if necessary to protect them. And 8 years later, I read a nonfiction history of the last year of the war in Germany, Armageddon by Max Hastings, and I thought, son of a gun, this echoes back to that diary you read 8 years ago. Right. So I approached my friend, and I approached his mother, the daughter of the diarist, who's still alive, and said, "I think there's a novel somewhere in that diary. How do you feel about that?" And she said, "Fine."
Reviewers out there, and I'm absolutely not surprised, are calling this a masterpiece. How does that feel?
It's scary. But this was an immensely liberating book for me because all of my other novels have been set in New England. This is the first time that I've left the safe confines of Vermont for new material. And the idea of writing about Poland and Germany was just energizing in ways I had never expected.
Chris, Skeletons at the Feast has just come out. Everybody should read this. We wish you the best of luck. But listen, will you stick around? Because I know you're a blogger, and I think you're going to be interested in our next segment.
I'm here in a heartbeat.
Yay! You're hearing it more and more. Congratulations on your book. That's right, book. These are books that are inspired by blogs, and we've tagged a few books that are worth a look. Skylar's Monster, a father's journey with his wordless daughter, is based on Robert Rummel Hudson's blog, in which he shares his experience about raising a daughter with a rare speech disorder. Stephanie Klein's been dubbed the Internet Queen of Manhattan. Her blog, Greek Tragedy, has inspired 2 memoirs. First, Straight Up and Dirty, presented all the juicy details of Klein's Single Gal in the City blog in book form. And coming out soon is Moose, a memoir of Fat Camp. Next, Melissa Plout began blogging about her life as a New York City cabbie and soon got such a readership that a book deal followed. You can read all about it in Hack, How I Stopped Worrying About What to Do with My Life and Started Driving a Yellow Cab. It comes out this summer in paperback. You want to know what waiters really think of you? Well, you can find out in July by reading blog-inspired Waiter Rant. Thanks for the tip, Confessions of a Cynical Waiter. And because he probably wants to keep his day job, it's written anonymously by the waiter. I've read a lot of children's books. It is by far my favorite activity with my daughter. We've done them all, from pop-ups to picture books, graduating to popular chapter series. So I was pleased to find out that this is Children's Book Week. Children's Book Week was created by the Children's Book Council to encourage kids of all ages to expand their world through books. The Library of Congress just appointed their first ambassador of young people's literature, the stinky cheese man himself, author John Cheska. We are happy to say that Barnes & Noble has tagged John's latest book, Smash Crash, from his new Trucktown series. In honor of Children's Book Week, we've tagged a few of our favorite books for every age and stage. Beloved author of Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, Mo Willems brings us the next in the best-selling pigeon series, The Pigeon Wants a Puppy. As is his trademark, Mo allows children to experience what pleading really sounds like as the pigeon incessantly begs for a puppy. For the tweens in your life, if they've read any of the prior Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, then they have been counting the days until the fourth installment, The Battle of the Labyrinth, by Rick Riordan. In this installment of the blockbuster series, time is running out as war between the Olympians and the evil Titan Lord Kronos draws near. Do your kids have a favorite children's author of all time? I know mine does. So let us know by going to bn.com/tag to cast your vote. We'll let you know the results next week. Last week, we asked you, who is your favorite living Latin American author? Many of you said it was Junot Diaz or Isabel Allende. Some of you said Mario Vargas Llosa and Laura Esquivel. But the majority of you said your favorite living Latin American writer was Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Hey, that's it for today's show. But before we go, I have one last question for Chris. All right, Chris, we featured some bloggers earlier. Now, you write a blog. So what do you like about blogging?
Oh, I love the immediacy. I love the reader's reaction. And I love the fact that in the digital age, it's kind of like performance art.
I wish we could talk to you about this all day. I really do. But the good news is, Chris is going to be online in our book clubs all this week. All you have to do is go to bn.com/bookclubs and post your questions for Chris. We'll see you guys next week.